Radio. Their radio.
What's good, y'all? This is Tony for Their Radio. Last month, I traveled to Long Beach to meet rising corrido artist Eleazar in his studio. In the city that birthed La Mariposa Del Barrio, Jenni Rivera, I knew the music had to be good. At the time of the recording, Eleazar had one song out called Siento, a late apology on a previous relationship. His latest single, Navegando, is the soundtrack to a cruise down Bolen. We sat down with Eleazar and we spoke about his city, Baldwin Park, the similarities between rap and corridos, and what he learned from working with legends in music like Brenton and the Pharcyde. Only 2 stellar singles out, but he has many years of musical experience. We're happy to sit down with Eleazar this early in his corrido production, and we hope you enjoy this conversation.
We are in Long Beach, California, and we are at the Brown Boys HQ. Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
Wait, who are the Brown Boys? Can you tell us who the Brown Boys are?
The Brown Boys are our group. Well, my group, the homies. Great. I don't know whose group to say. It's not my group, but it's a group I'm in. But the Brown Boys is my production group, and we songwrite for people. We're a band. We make our own music, and we're overall good dudes.
Right on. How long have y'all been a group for? Or yeah,
we've been a group since COVID, because we've been homies since before COVID, but when COVID happened, we all got sick together really bad. And so we're like, fuck it, we might as well pod up. You know how they were making us pod up and stuff. Yeah. So me, Blue, who's the homie on guitar and produces, and then my homie Brian, who's a drummer and singer and a producer as well. We were like, fuck it, let's just pod up and link up. So we were together every single day at Blue's house, and his dad was like, you motherfuckers. But we locked in, and yeah, now we're here, man.
Well, you've already started mentioning other people, but we don't even know who you are.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but who are you? Where what do you do? What's your title? What do you prefer to go by? Break it down.
I'm just so excited. I'm sorry. My name is Eleazar, aka Eleazar. My real name is Christian Eleazar Meraz. I'm from Baldwin Park, California. I work out of Long Beach, and shout out this beautiful community of people that holds it down out here with us. And I rock with the Brown Boys, the Sinceres, the Altons, the Free Nationals now, and Cuco as well now. So, and we're out here doing the do, man. Making corridos, playing jazz, playing piano, and doing the damn thing, baby.
Yeah, man. Well, when I was coming in, you showed me a little bit about you were practicing your Free National song and playing the keys. But what is that process? What do you do for the other bands and the other things that you do? Like, what's your main role in them?
In the other bands, I'm mostly a keys player. So it's mostly just keyboard and backing up the bands however they need me to elevate the situation. I would be what I guess they call a hired gun. Mm-hmm. So that would be like the bulk of my breadwinning that allows me to like follow my passion, I would say, like backing up other people and playing keys with them. And I mean, thank God, bro, I'm super happy. But also, yeah, that's how I see that job, being a hired gun, is how do you step into a situation and just elevate that situation as much as you can without getting in the way and letting like the artist shine. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And before we started our conversation, you also mentioned that you've been, going fully into music since around 2016, 2017. Mm. How has that changed since then? Like, has it been like a slow evolution with your music? What did that journey look like up until now?
Yeah, I mean, I've been a rapper my whole life, dude. Like, I started rapping when I was like 7 or 8 in the shower. Like, I feel like my first rap was like, "Hey, yo, what's up? My name is Chris. I'm coming straight off the block." Like, I remember the whole shit. Like, most rappers for sure remember their first flow. Like, you have to, because like, I mean, I for sure remember the whole shit, And like I've been rapping since I was a kid, and then got into jazz through, I guess, hip hop as well. I had a lot of musical phases. I was a metalhead at one point in my life, and just like everything, like when you're growing up, you're a rocker at one point, and like now you're like an emo, and now you're like a hip hop fool,
Yeah.
So it's like But I got into jazz as well because of the hip hop samples and like where does this sample come from, blah blah blah, and that kind of like super nurtured my love for hip hop and rap. You know, playing piano and loving jazz and playing hip hop and being in the scene. And then for a long time, my thing was like I think would like really like hit people hard when I was performing live is I always had a band. And I would always be playing piano while I'm rapping or something, or playing piano while I'm singing. So and it comes pretty easy to me. I'm not gonna lie, to like play piano while I'm rapping. So I feel like people would always trip the fuck out on that. And when I met the Free Nationals, they met me kind of like that too. And I think I also kind of had that element. Like I can see how there's like a parallel between when the homies like Anderson .Paak and myself or some of the homies. It's like I can see the parallels just because I guess I'm an instrumentalist that raps and sings. So it's kind of the same vibe. And then our singer for the Brown Boys, Brian, he also sings and plays drums at the same time. So it's like within the squad we have a lot of those type of fools, you know. And yeah, man, you know.
Well, you've been playing piano since 3, right?
Since like five.
Since 5. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So accordion, and then yeah, like it evolved. So since 2016, you know, it wasn't always like 100% music all the time. I mean, it was 100% music all the time, but it definitely wasn't making money. You know what I mean? Yeah. Not everything that I do now is still making money, but it's like that's how this shit is. You know, you have to invest time into things that you believe will pay off, and hopefully they will pay off. You know, and that's really for you to believe that gut feeling, what it is that's gonna pay off for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and money, right?
And
time
money,
and money,
of course, for sure, dude. And you have to be also not accepting of the fact that you won't have money, but in a way, kind of sometimes like a little accepting of the fact that like. You know, it's peaks and valleys. So I shout out my boy Kenny for that phrase, but it's peaks and valleys in the sense that, you know, it's not always going to be like the money's rolling in, but then it's not always going to be like, damn, I'm broke. Like sometimes you're going to be like, damn, I'm balling out. Other times you're going to be like, maybe I shouldn't buy that right now. I got to chill the fuck out. You know what I mean? So learning how to manage that has been cool since being out of the workforce, por decir, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just learning how to be more independent, dude. And it's nice to have the ball in your court, food, because I would rather have $50 in my bank account and wake up every single day and do what the fuck I want to do, as opposed to like 10,000 in my bank account or 50,000 in my bank account and I hate my life, and I turn over and I see my wife and I'm like, I hate you. You know?
Yeah. You know, I was gonna ask you as well, like, what do you remember the first group or the first time you made music with other people and what that was like for you?
Fuck yeah. I must have been like 18 or like 17. I was just out of high school, and I don't know how I met this guy. Actually, there was a guy in high school named Anthony Garcia. I don't really talk to him no more, but I mean, what up if you see this dude? I know he follows me and stuff. And he introduced me to a homie of his from a continuation school he went to. He went to continuation school over there in Baldwin Park. And then this fool's name was Elliot Mendez. They called him the Spirit or something like that, you know? He was a rapper. He was big into like fucking underground stuff, you know? Okay. All types of stuff, like stuff that he really put me on to, like Necro and like real underground, like Idea and like the Rhyme Sayers type fools, you know? Yeah. And he's like, man, you could really rap, bro. Like you could really rap. Like, so then he started recording me and putting me on to like recording. And yeah, because I had an uncle that I grew up with since I was a little kid. And he was an engineer, but my whole life growing up, I would be like, yo, let me record. And he would kind of big bro me and be like, no, I'm working right now. The computer's hot. You know? So like finally when I made my own homies when I was like 18, he was the first fool I met in BP and recorded a song. It's on SoundCloud and it went up. And then after that, I was like, oh, fuck yeah, I think I know how to rap.
Yeah. Do you feel like you grew up with having like music kind of like an integral part of your life? Not necessarily for you like to build on your own, but like even like having your family have that as an integral part of their life and culture? Or is that something you built on your own? That's something that you wanted to build for yourself?
Well, Baldwin Park, me and the homies always talk about it like it's an interesting place, dude, because you got like brown kids that want to be black, so they listen to like 50 Cent music and different 50 Cent. Like I remember during my age, like the music that we were growing up listening to was like I really wanted to be G Unit and I really wanted to be like Jada Kiss and like foods like that. And that's everybody from our little areas, like our brown areas out here. And then you got that side of it, and then you got the other side of it where they're mad paisa because they grew up with like, you know, corridos and banda, cumbia, whatever. And then you got the other side of it where like Mexican fools just love emo music and like they love rock and metal, you know?
Morrissey and shit.
Yeah, Morrissey. So it's like, so then there's this huge amalgamation of music that happens like in the valley right there. And then the city is pretty famous for like throwing backyard punk shows. And so I think there's like just a bunch of influence right there, bro. And like obviously like the gangbang culture out there. So you got like heavy influence on even that type of like Chicano type of rap, like Lil Rob and like Aquid, Pocos Por Locos type stuff too, you know? So, yeah, I think just growing up and all that, not even so much just for my fam, just in general, the area kind of like influences you in some different ways. And then, yeah, of course, my fam definitely bumped a lot of music, bro. Like my aunts would just put me on to like the first song I can remember, the first two songs I can honestly remember for real, is like, or like three, like Me and My Bitch by Biggie. And I remember like Too Close by 112, or is it Next? I wonder if she could tell I'm hard right now. You know?
Yeah.
You know? And then the other one is uh-oh, where the party at? Where are my girls? So I feel like that's like the earliest music memories I have. You know, I'm like, yeah.
Well, you mentioned corridos, and that goes back to your most recent single that you put out. What role did corridos play for you growing up, and yeah, your influences with those?
Yeah, my family's from Culiacan and from Jalisco, so they just love tamborazo and anything like that, corridos, baladas, even just like more OG stuff like Jose Jose and like Elvis Crespo. Like my mom really liked that stuff, you know. Yeah. So it's always been a humongous part of my life, dude. And I made my first corrido probably like in 2019, 2020. Okay. And that's the one that's dropping next. The one that I'm dropping next, it's dropping on August 9th. I recorded that one like in 2020 or something like that, you know? Oh, wow. And I just been sitting on it. I'm a habitual music hoarder, as many people are, you know what I mean? Yeah. And especially with the corrido stuff, like I'm a rapper, so I definitely was just like holding these corridos, like, I don't know if I'll even drop them, you know? I'm just kind of fucking around, you know?
Yeah. Well, what do you think of, sorry, go ahead. Were you going to say something?
Yeah. No, nothing. It's cool because it's like, I feel like I didn't really necessarily do it off of a like, oh man, like this shit is popping or people are blah, 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 blah. Like me and my brother, like me and my little brother, we grew up singing harmony since I was literally a little kid. So we just do this shit, you know, we just do this shit. And like, we could really link up with some tios tomorrow and just sing a couple corridos for like 4 hours, you know what I mean? So like, you know, it's just it's in our nature, you know. Like when we made the corridos, it just felt right because I was like, yeah, dude, I should have done this a fucking long time ago, just because we can, you know what I mean? Because we can, yeah.
But sometimes I feel like there's that like wave of appreciation with different music, you know what I mean? Because I feel the same thing with even cumbias, right? Like it's always been there, but you reach a certain point where you're like, oh shit, this shit is actually fucking sick. But there's a wave of appreciation. Did you feel that at a certain point where you're like, oh shit, I can appreciate this to another level now?
I mean, I feel like I've always been, me and my brother for sure, and like some of the fam, like we've always been pretty tapped into it. So okay. I feel like it's more like when it started getting appreciated more, I think the sentiment was like thank God that finally it's getting appreciated, but also like fools are very late to the party. You know what I mean? Yeah.
For you, what was going on around 2019, 2020 that made you create that first corrido track? Or what made you go into that?
I think I was just driving one time up the 605 coming over here towards Long Beach, and I just remember like singing a cappella. I don't know. I just remember like, cause you know you have if you're an artist or songwriter, like you just have voice notes sometimes, so you just record it on your voice notes, be like blah, 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 whatever your idea is. And that day I just had like an idea, like, oh, I should make a Spanish song. I for sure was bumping a lot of corridos at the time, but I mean I guess I always bump corridos. So I guess at that time I just felt nice and inspired, like, oh, I could do some shit like this. Yeah. I think you know what I had probably heard. I remember like during that time, I think I heard En este mundo frío, habido lo prohibido. It's got like there's a song called Es en el refuego, or something like that. It's a dope one. It's a dope one, man. But like there was some music around that time that I was hearing, and I remember thinking like, this shit is very much like rap music, you know? Yeah. It's very much like rap music. I think that's really where it started, like the curiosity, because I was like, this is very much like rap music, some of the shit, and they're not even like necessarily doubling down on the rap aspect of it, you know? Yeah. And there is one guy I seen, the homie sent it to me recently. I think his name is Shit, it's some famous rapper fool. Like you would know if I seen his name.
Peso Pluma and stuff, artists like that, like they say like their influences are like literally like West Coast hip hop. They'll tell you like my favorite artist is OGZ, who's from LA and who's like a rapper. But to you, like what are the similarities that you see between those two music genres?
I just see like the cadences, because it's in 3/4 a lot of times. Then like, there's so many ways to break that down, bro. There's so many ways to break that down. Like, and I was a drummer for a long time, so I also think I guess about flows like that, where I'm like, if something's like, like, and so when I hear that flow, I'm like, you could just rap that technically, you know what I mean? Just for example, I guess. Oh, by the way, the song is called Loqueando by LDNE and Young Drummer Boy.
Oh, right, yeah.
Young Drummer Boy.
Yeah,
and it's from 2021. So like Food's been hip to that shit. So they definitely been hip to the fact that like, and this one has drums on it and stuff, And I had that idea the other day where I was like, oh, the corrido is like, put drums to it like, but it's tight because that's like collective hive mind shit. Like everybody, I think collectively across the board in the scene is starting to hear that connection. You know what I mean?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Especially in LA, right? Because it's you hear corridos, you hear hip hop, you hear everything all come together. But going back to your latest single, I see you in the cover of it. I see you standing in front of a sports bar, right? And it's El Latino.
Yeah.
Why'd you choose to shoot the cover for that there?
Because in El Monte, there's a shop called Catalyst. They have them all over LA, Catalyst, the weed shops. And then on the way back, me and the homie were like, hey, let's make a right here. We were trying to take a picture somewhere. And the first right that we made, literally, we barely started that journey of like, let's go take a picture somewhere. The first right that we made, we turned, and then that sports bar was right there in El Monte. It's a famous ass, it's a fucking ghetto ass spot, But yeah, we just seen it. I was like, that looks kind of cool. And that's really all that happened.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. And your latest single, it's called Siento.
Siento.
So it's a really great song. What was the process of making it? What do you remember about making that song?
That was with my boy Fernie. He plays guitar for Kuko. And then the homie Isai, he plays bass for Kuko too. And then this fool Bluesky playing guitar as well. And we were just in here jamming it out, and I kind of had we worked it out together. We're like just playing a little bit of keys and stuff, and these was working on guitar, talked about the chords, and it's definitely a blessing to know music theory and shit. So like making these corridos has been pretty tight in the sense that like I could just, even if I don't even play guitar, I could just talk to the homies and be like, oh, like what are you on right now? You're on a G minor? Okay, go to the 5, blah, 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 go to this, you know what I mean? And that within itself makes this process like easier, you know what I mean? And these fools are just so fucking good at like taking what I say and doing something dope with it. You know what I mean?
I mean, it sounds like it's also kind of like a close knit like music community because it sounds like you've worked with Kuko and with mentioned before Omar Apollo. And it's like these are people who are like now bigger stars in this music thing. But it seems like y'all are all connected with that somehow, right? Even talking about the Altons and the Sinceres.
Yeah.
Is it a small music community for y'all? Like what's that connection like?
I think in general, just in being in music, the more you work in music is just small in general, bro. Like across any genre, like if you're a working musician that starts to get involved in working with other camps and stuff, eventually everybody knows everybody. Or you meet somebody that's like famous and connected enough that whole, what's that rule called, bro? Is it like the 3 people rule or 5 people rule? You know, that rule gets a lot more real for sure. You know.
Now you have music under Eleazar, but even before that was Eleazar, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of the music that you made through that, it was kind of like neo soul, hip hop, and things like that. And that kind of reminds me of the time frame of like 2016, 2017, when that was kind of like the bubbling sound of like the underground, but also like an emerging sound when we think of like the internet and things like that. What do you remember about that time, 2016, 2017?
Man, I was working in real estate, and I had basically quit music, and then 2016 I was for sure bumping that stuff, and I was still making beats in my room just on my own, just to practice, and just for my own sake, I guess. And then 2016, that's when I met the Free Nats at a bar, and then I remember a lot of that music coming out, like The Internet and Miguel, and even like Jenna Aiko, and obviously the Free Nats, and just people of that nature. That it was a sound that was very prevalent, especially in LA, but throughout the music scene in general, you know. And yeah, man, I was definitely enveloped in that sound heavy. Actually, how I heard like a big influence of that sound was, I guess, like the Malibu album and stuff. And you know, I remember when I was working, not even playing music at the time, my brother called me up like, yo, man, you got to hear this album, man. You got to hear this album. What's up? What are you going to do today? Come smoke at the house. I was like, all right, bet. So I pulled up and he played me this album. He's like, yo, dude, I feel like you and this guy, like, you guys will make like the same type of shit. Like, you're right there. You guys, like, you kind of think like that. You know what I mean? And so he played Malibu and I was like, oh yeah, you know, low key, I fuck with this shit. And fast forward a little while later, I ended up meeting the Free Nats at the fucking bar. And I was like, yo, that's the guy from this album that my brother showed me, you know? And it is kind of low-key up my wave, like, you know? And so then I quit my job the next day. And then that's why I remember, like, 2016, because that time frame, and that's when I quit my job after that, you know?
Yeah.
And
you fully went into music.
Yeah. And the sound is dope, man. It's like... It's a combination of like everything we do, right? And that sound is still very much alive, fool. It's, if anything, it's thriving and growing, you know what I mean? And it's like, I think that sound is pouring into what's happening is like a lot of rappers and like R&B singers and stuff. There's like a weird gray area. There's like a weird gray area where if you know how to really finesse auto-tune the right way and do shit the right way, you just have a good voice, you could rap and sing, you could do fuck around and make R&B and rap and everything in between, some indie shit, some pop shit, you know what I mean?
You heard of that artist Layla?
No.
Yeah, she's really good. She got that. It's like she's really big on TikTok and stuff like that. But she's like Yasin Bey's Mos Def's daughter, and is like now creating that sound. I feel like she's also really, really good artist, kind of bringing that sound again to the forefront in a way. Yeah.
She's literally Mos Def's daughter?
Yeah, literally.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, literally. Mos Def said, people were tripping on Twitter like, nah, she's a Nepo baby. But shit, I mean, I don't know. It's still great music.
Good is good, man.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Nepo baby, sure. But like for some artists, it's like if their parents were amazing artists and they're around that all the time, obviously they're going to be sick too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, people have jobs in specific companies because of their parents' relation, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting. You know, I saw that you worked with Brenton Wood. And you mentioned also before that you worked with Pharcyde. So you worked with like legends, right? What's your experience been like working with them, and like what is there lessons or things that you take and apply to your music when you're creating your sound?
Definitely, for sure. Lessons from life and lessons in music. For the music stuff, I think as far as Mr. Brenton Wood, you know, just hearing the way that his music is composed and how simple he keeps it, and the message in his music is like he always has some really good lyrics that I feel like if you could just separate those lyrics and write them in a caption or something, or write them in a letter, like it's a poignant statement, you know. And so yeah, but also just like tenacity, right? Like learning from these type of artists like the Pharcyde, and we also backed up a lady named Barbara Mason, you know.
Okay, yeah.
Or you know, Brenton Wood. Like they have such long careers, bro, and like they've done it for so long, made music and made money for so long off music. It's like you gotta love this shit for sure. You gotta love this shit. When I was playing with the Pharcyde, they were already broken up too, right? So they've been broken up for years. So yeah. I was with one side with Imani and Booty Brown, you know, and it's like even just situations like that, I'm like, that's another life lesson that I take where I'm like, man, you know, I hope that nothing like that ever happens with me and my boys, and that we like have a way to like communicate about things forever. And, you know, and no matter how famous you are and no matter how much money you are, like I just see all the time that like no matter if you're like the man right now, like right now you're on the top of the scene and you're fucking killing it, bro, you're not immune from feeling like shit. Like and you're not immune from feeling like you're suffocating and you hate this shit, and like and you'd be surprised the amount of people that you think are on top of the world that they're actually like they can't stand like going on tour, or they can't stand they just can't stand this shit no more. They se pudrieron, you know, they kind of lost that light. They lost that something, you know what I mean?
What do you think causes that?
Man, I don't know, man. Like, I think a big part of it is like outside life factors that a lot of people don't know nothing about. I don't know nothing about. Like, I don't have kids, you know. I don't have kids. I don't have a wife or nothing. So with some people, I see that that's like a big factor, right? For how you move in your life, what you determine you do in your life, you know.
For you, what's one consistent thing throughout it all? Is it like your approach to it, your love for it? What's something consistent for you? Yeah.
The excitement and love that I have for it, and like the innocence that I felt when I was a little kid and I was playing music, I for sure still feel that. And sometimes I think there's a lot of situations in life that try to like kill that enemy, you know. Maybe not on purpose, but just through life, just like life wants to bring you down and like take that shit from you, you know. And I've seen that shit with some of the homies or other people, like, unfortunately, where it's like, damn, dude, I hope you still have that in you, bro. Like, I hope you still have that innocence that you had when you were a little kid for this shit. But some people lose it, and that's definitely a driving force for me to like maintain that light and excitement and be super grateful about it all the time, and just have an attitude of gratitude, bro, because we could be shoveling shit or delivering pizzas or something crazy, you know.
Yeah, most definitely. This current new music that you're working on in the music, what's influencing you at the moment? Is it a song, a thing, a place? What's the driving force behind that?
I think I'm just very motivated to get into better situations for myself, my family, and my friends, you know. So I'm extremely like tunnel visioned in that, for sure, and I have been for like a long time, you know.
Yeah.
But more so recently, I feel like a very heavy lean towards that, you know. And it's not like we're all doing that. I feel like we're all kind of on that, and so I think that also fuels the fire too. I'm very fueled by that too, like knowing that the homies and, like you said, the community of musicians, my band and my group and the other groups that I'm a part of, like they're so like, Eleazar, you got this shit, bro. Like, you fucking got this shit. It's like you can't fail like that, and you also feel very fired up. And then on top of that, I think about like my siblings and my mom. I do this one for sure. This one hits all the fucking time for me, bro, for sure. On tour or anywhere, where like I think about my mom and my brothers and my stepdad, and I think about my sisters and my homies that I work with, like our collaborators, and everybody that has basically like a 9 to 5 that they don't enjoy. You know what I mean? That they don't, like, that wasn't their dream. You know what I'm saying? And like when I think about that situation, I'm just like, dude, like I cannot afford to like not be here every single day. I cannot afford to like not be somewhere else in the country and not be grateful and not be thankful because my little sisters are out there somewhere. You know, like we got to do something about that. You know what I'm saying? So that's for sure a humongous motivating force.
You heard of that LeBron when he does like the shop and he has like different like people all in sit down at a barbershop? I don't know if you've seen it before. Well, he recently had a Andre 3K and he also had like Sexy Red and like these like different artists come together. And something that Andre 3K was talking about was like how important Rico Wade and like the Dungeon family was to like building confidence into the music that he does. Do you ever feel like that where you're like, oh shit, like the music we're doing is so fucking great, but people haven't reached, they don't understand it yet, they don't get it yet, or it's not there yet? Like, and is that important for y'all to like kind of keep that circle of like a motivating believing in each other's sound kind of thing together? Is that something that you've experienced before or you felt before?
Like I think it's more important. It's never really bothered me, or I guess I've never really paid attention to like feeling owed the attention of like people liking my stuff. You know what I mean? I've always just been like, we're doing this because we think it sounds dope, and I trust our discernment and I trust our gut feeling and our taste. And if that takes 10 years for somebody to hear and the world to catch on, or if that takes 1 year, that's cool too, you know. It'd be better if it takes 1 year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, really, I think the circle and the motivation is more for like when you have a circle of people that all have great minds and everyone's so talented, and like every individual could make their own album on their own and mix it and master it on their own. So if like I get like 5 of those fools in the same room together and everyone's working towards the same thing, it's like gonna make amazing shit. You know what I mean? And I was like, don't take my word for it. Like, I'll just take everyone else. Like, hopefully, number one, I'm surrounded by not yes men, which I believe we are surrounded by not yes men. We're surrounded by like real homies that will tell you like that's not it, or what the fuck are you wearing, or what the fuck you know what I mean, like, so we're lucky in that, because that's the other thing, man. It's like you can have a circle around you and everyone's like, we moving like the mob, street mentality, but it's like, okay, yeah, you're moving like the mob, but you won't tell your boy, hey man, why haven't you seen your daughter in like a month, or like, or you're moving like the mob and that's your brother, that's your family, but you won't be like, hey man, hey, I need like $500 for rent. You think you got me, or something like that? Like, I don't know. Like, there's weird situations where I'm like, I think we have a dope community of people and support for more than music. I think it's more for motivating each other and pushing each other to be the best level that you can be and the best version of yourself that you can be. And that's what the squad is important for. You know what I mean? For accountability. You know what I mean?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
I saw on your socials that you posted a video of you, DJ Quick, and Joy from the Sinceres.
Oh, yeah.
And you just came back from tour, right? A few weeks ago from touring with them. What's your experience on tour, and what was it like meeting DJ Quick?
Shout out to Sinceres and shout out to Altons. It was really cool. Saw all the United States for the most part. Ate a lot of food. I gotta hit the gym. All of us gotta hit the gym. And then it was cool, man. I seen almost everything that I saw was for the first time, like New York, New Orleans, Texas.
It's different. You feel the culture like differences,
dude. I mean, Mexicans are well represented out in the West Coast, and that's about it. You know what I mean? It about stops in like Oklahoma.
Okay.
You got Oklahoma, and then you got Chicago.
Yeah.
And then you got like random little subsets within like some of those country towns, but really the next one is like probably New York. Like a Mexican population, but even then it's more like Puerto Ricans and Dominicans and Cubans and stuff,
Yeah, Caribbean.
And that was cool too, bro. Like I loved meeting other Latinos, bro, and like just seeing like, oh, it's not. I'm just so used to Mexican culture that I had never had like a fucking like an empanada from like a Dominican food, or I had never had like some sandwiches from some Puerto Rican food, and bro, it's so bomb, bro. It's so bomb. Have you been to New York?
Nah, never. I'm trying to though. Trying to. They got a nice cumbia scene out there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You'll fuck with it heavy, bro. You'll fuck with it heavy, and so yeah, I mean, but New Orleans was probably the dopest spot. In two of the cities, like people got shot, like right around us or in front of us. Like New Orleans, someone got shot across the street at the show. Cincinnati, someone got shot like right in front of the homie. Like some of those cities are intense. I didn't know that Cincinnati turned up so much. I didn't know that Memphis was so well, I knew that Memphis was kind of gutted, but not until you go there, you're like, man, like people always talking about like Atlanta, Detroit, blah blah blah. Like people need to be talking about like Baltimore. And which I know they kind of talk about Baltimore a little bit, but like Cincinnati, Memphis, like those are some intense places, bro.
Yeah.
Those are some intense places. It's pretty crazy, fool.
Does stepping out of the state kind of learn to like give you a different appreciation or a different perspective once you come back to California, once you come back to your hometown?
Oh yeah. It's dope out here, bro.
Yeah.
It's dope out here. Like, it's dope.
Yeah.
We're a lot more crowded. So when you go to other parts of the country, you have a lot more room. You have your own yard, like a yard.
Yeah.
And some of the cities where it's more compact, like you can assume which ones, like Chicago and Boston and New York and New Jersey. Like, yeah, it's definitely a crowded ass city vibe there. But even those cities, like Chicago, felt really clean, bro. Chicago felt really clean and really wide and spacious, And New York, like Brooklyn, felt really dope. Manhattan is very busy and very hectic, but the other side, Brooklyn, is more like the East Los and Silver Lake of New York. It's more chill. It's tight.
Do you hear the music change where you go through, or is there like not enough of your stay there to like feel that?
Nah, you definitely hear them. And then I like to talk to people when we're out in other states, like what's good with like what they fuck with. Send me some music, I'll be tapping in with people. There's for sure different music going on everywhere. And like in New Orleans, I heard a really interesting style, bro, which was like it's like their version of trap music and like some shit where it's like obviously they have trap music that's famous and like hip hop music that's really famous from New Orleans, but they have this shit they do where it's like DJs and rappers will like do a vocal break where if imagine like the beats clapping like and they'll remix their voice. They'll be like, break it down, break it down, down, break, bounce. Like it's like some dope shit. I was like, the fuck? And I seen that at one of the shows and like everyone in the crowd was all about it. And I'm like, this is fucking tight, whatever this is,
That's
man.
That's the bounce. For sure. Bounce music. You know, like when we think of New Orleans, we think of like who was it? Who did we see? The Hot Boys and like Lil Wayne, you know? Magnolia Shorty. So yeah, I feel that's the reason I ask is because, you know, each part of the country, each place has their own rhythm, right? Their own like interpretation of the music.
There's something called like Zydeco music out there too that's real famous.
Oh,
like,
wow.
It's like a thing from out there where it's like accordion music but like party style, like it's trippy. In DC they have go-go music. That's a big vibe out there. They'll like listen on the radio to live bands. So on the radio you'll hear like live band arrangements like like, you know, it's tight, you know? And that's like their party music too.
Hey man, and your music right here in LA, right? It's the corrido and the hip hop and all of it coming together. That's the sound of LA, right?
It is.
What was it like meeting DJ Quick, or like what?
It was dope. He was really nice, and basically I was walking backstage. We had just played for Brenton Wood, and we did a tribute to him because he at this point, like his health, like he has been dealing with some health stuff, so he hasn't been able to do the last couple sets. So for that one, they did a tribute set to him, and he was there. And when we were walking by, he's like, "Hey man, that was a really beautiful tribute set, man." And I was just gonna walk away, and my boy Hopi was like, "Can he get a picture with you?" And I was like, "Yeah, can I get a picture with you?" And so then I got a picture with him, and then Joey saw he was right there. He's like, "Oh shit!" And he just kind of hopped in, you know.
Okay.
So that's why in the pic he's like leading in, you know.
Yeah.
And and that was it. And he was super cool. And then literally right after that picture, not even like 5 seconds later, he just walked on stage and just did his shit.
Damn,
you know? I was like, that's tight.
Any new projects? What's in the works? What are you looking forward to? Well, not only that, but also the rest of this year. What do you have planned?
Yeah, I have a song coming out on August 9th. It's called Navegando. Stay tuned. It's going to be amazing. And that one's dope, man. I actually got an 808 on there instead of like a bass. So there's like a bass on there, but we'll put some 808s on there too. Sounds tight. Okay. And August 9th. Stay tuned for that. And then dropping a project pretty soon with all these songs on it too, you know. And, still rapping my ass off, doing my shit. And low key, if my manager hears this, wherever you are, my bad, dude. But I definitely haven't a plan to like drop probably some secret projects too on SoundCloud and stuff. Some more rap shit and just keep that going too, you know. And just enjoying life, man, and making moolah and kissing chicks and fucking
beautiful, yeah.
And trying to get this going, man. Dropping this music and just feeling thankful every day. Working on a project with the Brown Boys. Stay tuned for that, man.
More than the Dollar Tree one.
More than the Dollar Tree one. Yeah, more than the Dollar Tree. Quality over quantity, but this is gonna be some good stuff in this shit.